Hi, Jackie. Welcome today. How are you?
I'm well, Erin. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today for Junior Achievement's Career Speaker Series. My name is Erin Cheschi, and I am the Director of Programs and Community Partnerships with Junior Achievement of Rhode Island, and I will be interviewing Jacqueline Gerchman. Welcome, Jackie, and please introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Gerchman, and I am the Director of Administration for a behavioral health organization in Rhode Island.
So, Jacqueline, what is it that you do for a living with the Behavioral Health Association of Rhode Island?
So I do anything that is really associated with operations for the organization. So the organization that I work with has 7 clinics throughout the state of Rhode Island. And anything that's really administratively focused. So anything related to our licensing, facilities. We are looking at expanding across the state. And so focusing on all the aspects that go along with new locations and making sure that we have the staff in place to be successful in new areas throughout the state. I work a great deal with the leadership team, really focused on making sure that we have everything we need in order to serve our patients.
And why did you choose this field?
So it's interesting. It is not a field that I've ever worked in before. And so I was really looking to be able to use my skills as far as operational leadership goes. And this organization provided me with the space to do that.
How long have you been with the organization for?
Since July of last year.
Okay. So what does your typical day at work look like? What do you love about the work you do?
What I love about the work that I do is that everything we touch is hopefully at the end of the day helping somebody move forward in their life. A typical day for me, really now in this time, is spent on Zoom. A lot of a lot of meetings via Zoom these days. But we are looking forward to being back in the office space coming in June. We tour some of our different facilities. We make sure that health and safety aspects are in place. We make sure that the facilities have everything they need, from supplies to licensing compliance. We days are often spent following up on the meetings of the morning, making sure that all of our compliance is in place.
That sounds really interesting, and it sounds like you have a lot going on. And how was it taking on a new role in the height of COVID?
So that was definitely interesting, and being new to the state at the same time. So
Oh, so you're new to Rhode Island.
yes, I'm new to Rhode Island.
Okay.
So yes, I've been in Rhode Island a little over a year. I'm originally from upstate New York. So in the height of COVID, it was really learning a new way to work. It was learning to communicate more through email rather than face to face. And there were times in the office where we would all be on the same Zoom meeting with our doors closed. So in November, we transitioned to working primarily from home.
So you had to learn a whole new skill set, starting a new job and living in a new state all
Yes,
at once.
yes.
So that's a lot to juggle. That must have been a little overwhelming and quite a steep learning curve for you.
I would say it was exciting more than
Mhm.
overwhelming. Meeting new people, learning about a new state. It was interesting to be here in the height of a pandemic, but it did touch on new ways to build relationships and taught more to ask a lot of questions and to really listen to those answers. That's what really helped bring us together as a team, and help to learn and find those new ways to work that are so important.
That sounds all very interesting. And I'm going to switch switch gears now. Can you tell us about your first job and how you got hired?
So my first job was with a restaurant company many years ago. And I was actually hired for that position because they needed someone who had the ability to travel, didn't have any commitments that required someone to stay in one place. So I was a training coordinator for a restaurant organization. And what I did specifically was travel throughout Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New York, and Virginia, and the Maryland area. And we opened restaurants. We opened 19 restaurants from the ground up. And I was just in the perfect place to be able to take on that task and learn about the restaurant business through the process. So it was an exciting and rewarding time. And I do think that that opportunity really set the tone for what I did moving forward.
That's really interesting. So, going from the restaurant industry to the mental health industry, why did you change career tracks, or more so what you do in the field?
So it was interesting that I had the desire to not smell like food every day. And that desire to not smell like food every day prompted me to continue my education. I had an associate's degree at the time. And that really meant stop traveling, put my feet on the ground, continue my education. And that is how I progressed into the business aspect of organizations as opposed to the hands-on aspect.
That is great. What did you want to be when you were in middle school or high school?
An orthodontist.
Oh, wow.
Very
That's a
different
big
from what I do today.
change. What made you change career tracks completely?
So my education is really what did
Mhm.
that. So when I did my associate's degree is in applied science with a concentration in mental health. Um, I had gone into my educational pursuit thinking I wanted to be an orthodontist, but I didn't really care for the science that was necessary for that. And I was more interested in the well-being of the individual. So that was the educational pursuit that I followed. Going into the restaurant industry and that type of work and learning to work with people and with teams. When I went back to school, I did my bachelor's degree in business economics and management. And from there, I went on to pursue my MBA. But it is, it was really that work experience through the restaurant organization that drove the business end of my education.
That sounds like a really interesting journey, both educational and career-wise. You went in thinking you wanted to be an orthodontist. You didn't really like the science aspect of it, but you enjoyed the psychology side of it and working with people, which I'm sure you use a lot in your role today. And working in the restaurant industry, I'm sure helped you with those managerial skills that you must use in your role. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
That sounds really great, how you were able to take your journey and use those skills in different areas and being
Yes.
able to adapt and adjust and learn along the way.
Yes, it has been definitely a learning experience.
Mhm. Um, what what was some surprises along the way? What was something that surprised you along the way, or what might surprise our students along your journey?
So, surprises along the way really came in the knowing that we don't know what we don't know, and being able to hone in on that and being open to learning about new organizations. So, well, the past 20 years of my career has been primarily focused in business organizations, business administration, within organizations, it's what works in one place doesn't always work in another. And cultures are so very different in workplaces. So, being knowing and being open to learning about the organizational culture is so important.
Yes, organizational culture is so important to know if you're a good fit for them and they're a good fit for you. And that goes hand in hand with understanding your skill set and where your strong skills are and what you enjoy doing, along with matching that organization.
Absolutely.
I think is very important. In your role now, is there any specific education, training, or certifications that you need to have, that you need to renew as you work in your role in mental health care?
So, since I don't work directly with patients,
Mhm.
the education level that's required for my position is a master's degree is preferred. And so, coming into the role, already having a master's degree, I fit the educational specifics of that position. However, I have done some industry training to better understand what happens at the patient level.
So, do you agree that continual education and learning is important in any role you have?
I absolutely agree with that. And the educational journey and educational experience is one that, in some cases, people take for granted, and in other cases, it's people don't realize the value behind it.
Thank you for that. And what advice would you give to your younger self?
To my younger self would be to take a more traditional education path. So I took breaks between my education. After my associate's degree, I worked for 5 years, and then I went on for my bachelor's degree. Continued working full time while I did that, and then continued working through my master's degree. My younger self, I would say, stay the course. Really stick to it, focus, and that dedication and commitment will pay off. It's so much easier to be a student at the traditional phase of being a student than it is to be an adult.
And what advice might you give to younger students who are thinking about a career path, an education path, and moving forward?
Dedication and commitment. Find a mentor. Having a mentor is such a valuable gift. That mentor can help along with the college application process, the college selection process, and then into the career journey. So finding that mentor, someone who has that foundation and that experience to guide and support throughout the process, is a gift that is just extremely valuable.
I agree. I think it is so important to have a mentor to help guide your path and mold it. And it may not be the same mentor as you go through the path. It might be, two or three different mentors, but there are people that are there to help you along the path. I think that is so important.
Yes, I have worked with a mentor for the mentor I have now for the past 4 years, and I'm forever grateful to have that. But I had mentor prior as well, and it was such a valuable experience.
I agree. And that is some great advice to give to young students. I think it is so important and helpful for them to hear that. And my last question is, are there any resources or additional information you think is important for students as they start to think about their educational journey or career path?
Follow your heart. Follow your heart. That will definitely lead you in the path that you're meant to take. Make sure that you love what you're doing, so it doesn't feel like work. And again, that mentor tour experience will help get you to where you want to be. I can only share that I truly know the importance of education.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for your time. We greatly appreciate it. And I know that the students will enjoy this interview.
Thank you, Erin. It was a pleasure.